So a reminder, we're focusing these last 3 or 4 weeks of school on your final assignment, okay? And so that assignment's available on Canvas. I'll scroll through and make sure everybody's aware. We have a final assignment. Full information is right here, okay? And then you can look at some of the class recordings. And I was a little bit late uploading the recordings from last week, but we do have at least one of those posted there. Well, maybe I should unlock it. You might not have been able to see that one. And then I'm working on getting another one from last week uploaded as well for you. That way you can kind of just follow. It's not due yet, but that way you can just kind of follow some of the pieces of the final assignment items I've covered on the final assignment, etc. I'm going to look at the discussion forum really quick here. If you look at your discussion for this week, it has to do with our final assignment as well. So here we go. This is week 9 already. We've got 12 weeks total that we're working with here. So for this week, you're going to research and compile a response to item number 6 on the final paper and presentation assignment. And of course, that information is copied down below, but the full assignment information is available on the Canvas homepage, etc. Remember, we're not going to plagiarize, and we talked about that last week on the call. We're not going to just copy and paste a job description, right? And then call it good. You're going to be writing on your own a paragraph using a job description, but writing about yourself and how you fit that job description, okay? And then here's the assignment. So you're going to analyze 2 or 3 of the job ads that you're most interested in from the paragraphs above and explain specifically what the requirements are for these positions. For example, do they require a college degree and or a certain number of years of experience? Do they require other skills such as computer skills, people skills, etc.? Make sure that you use quotation marks for any direct quotes taken from the job ads themselves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on somebody on a live, on this live call. So last week we looked at how to search like monster.com, right? So we could go to Monster or we could go to Indeed or one of those other options and look for jobs that are of interest to us, okay? What I want to do today is just do a real quick practice session showing you what would or would not be okay on plagiarism. Once you find one that you really, really like, what we would not do, and then what we would do. Yes, Arthur.
I'm very sorry to bug you, and I apologize to you and the whole class, but I just started my shift yesterday, so I'm at work. I'm not on my lunch break. I had to sneak off into the bathroom. So okay. I just wanted to let you know, and I will watch the recording, and I can make it up Friday for you because my off days are Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. But I'm working on getting a student accommodation put through. It should be through in a week or so, okay. And I won't have to work Wednesdays. I work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 10s instead of 4. So I'll be available Wednesdays, hopefully start next week.
Awesome. Sounds great. Have a good day, Arthur. I'll see you on Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. Let me hear from Ruth. So Ruth, you're on the spot today. Last week we looked at cosmetology as our example. Real quick, we're going to pull an example of something you're interested in, and then we're going to practice how not to plagiarize. This will take us about 7 or 8 minutes.
Okay.
What do we want for the keyword, Ruth?
Social services.
Okay. We'll try social services in Spokane. If we don't find anything, we'll open our search a little bit. So we've got licensed clinical social workers, remote online counseling. That's kind of cool. You could just work remotely. That's pretty neat. We've got some nights. Yeah. Did you like that?
Sure.
Okay, we'll try that. But you obviously, so Ruth obviously is going to search a little bit and find one that she is interested in, right? So not necessarily just the first one that pops up. Let me see if it will let me scroll. It's not wanting to let me scroll. Let me scroll these, but not these. Let's see. I might have to exit the screen share to allow it to scroll for me. But at any rate, what we need to do, or what we're going to be doing, she would not just copy and paste an entire paragraph straight from them, right? And then use that as her own work. Okay. My scroll is not letting me work on the side here. I don't know, if something that's always kind of funny when I'm in Zoom. So what we wouldn't do too, and what some students will do, I'll see students that'll copy like a paragraph like this, and then what they'll do is they'll do like a spot change. Work from, and then change the word comfort here. Work from your own house with comfort. Do you see what I'm saying? Like students would like just take a little sentence right there and make a change. BetterHelp will provide instead of provides, or will offer the technology and marketing. You know, I see students who make small little changes there. I'm going to stop the share, see if it'll let me scroll, and then I'll reshare it. Hold on just a second here. Sometimes things are always a little bit funny on my screen. There it goes. Now it's letting me scroll. Let me move further down here. All right, I'm going to try to reshare now and see if it will let me do the scrolling as I do so. So I'm further down on the ad, and it looks like it is giving me the scroll bar this time, which is good. So here's some things that you would be doing in that job. Here's who should apply if you are interested in counseling, etc. You got to be licensed by the state, etc. And remember, everybody who's in this class, you're not thinking about right now this minute. You're thinking about a year or two from now once you've earned a degree of some sort, right? Like in a couple of years, here's something I would be interested in. So let's say Ruth feels like she wants to be part of a peer community and she likes working from home, but she's also very good at working with adults, couples, and teens. See that? They want to have adults, couples, and teens that you would be counseling, okay? So if she was going to write a paragraph, she would look for keywords, not the whole thing, but a couple of keywords here and there to think about, okay, I found this really neat job. It's for licensed clinical workers, remote online counseling at BetterHelp, and it's in the state of Washington. I really like this job. One thing I think I'm good at is counseling people of all ages. See how I took this adults, couples, and teens? You know, she's going to write it from her point of view. And she's going to share, though, a couple of key points that she noticed in the job ad, but without it being just a copy and paste session, okay? Now, let's say Ruth does need to take something word for word, okay? Let's see that she finds something in here that she likes. So she wants to be part of a strong and accessible peer community. She likes that phrase, okay? She would need to put quote marks around it. Even though that's not a full sentence, if it's just a word here and a word there, notice how for the counseling of adults, couples, and teens, I advised her maybe to reword that. I'm able to counsel people of all ages, or I enjoy counseling people of all ages. It kind of covers this, but it's completely her own words. If she takes a longer phrase, though, so it doesn't even have to be necessarily a full sentence, but a catchphrase, strong and accessible peer community. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's not like necessarily a word count there. I've had some professors say if it's 6 words or more, you need to put quote marks. There's really not a word count. If you're pulling a full phrase that is exactly what they said, just quote it, and you're just going to put quotes around that phrase. You know, I like that they are advertising a quote, strong and accessible peer community. I feel that this would work good for me, or something. You see what I'm saying? If that was
Right.
Ruth, okay. Ruth, does this make sense to you? How to like look at something like this and not plagiarize? And I'm not picking on you. I just called on you because I
Yeah.
haven't called on you in a while. Okay.
Yeah. It actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Does this help everyone else? Do I have any questions about what I mean by plagiarism? So we would never, of course, copy and paste the whole thing, but we're not even going to be like copying and pasting little parts of it. We're going to try our best to talk about ourselves. Here's what I want to do with my life. Here's what I'd like to do. And I found this job ad where there's really some cool descriptions that I think I would fit. Try to reword some of the stuff in the job ad as much as you can. But if you need to pull a full phrase, if it's several words and it's a phrase, just put quotes around it. One of the things they said is they want a, you know, strong and accessible peer community. And I feel like that's good for me. Put quotes around strong and accessible peer community, and then make sure that the rest of it is worded yourself. Any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to go back to my share screen, and this time it will be our Canvas screen. One more time, quick reminder here for our topic, and it comes straight from your final assignment. So there it is. There's the assignment. You're going to narrow it down and find a couple of job ads this time that you really, really like. You'll be talking specifically about those job ads, but I've got the reminder here to be careful about plagiarism, okay? And you can look back at one of our previous videos of how to like give credit to the source, the citation, etc. The other thing I want us to talk about today is actually the WOIS, okay? We've got 2 more surveys that we're going to do. I'm going to go back up to assessments here. This is going to be 2 weeks from now, okay? So it's not due this week. Focus on the discussion forum that I just showed you that's related to your final paper. Focus on that first. But in your spare time, we already did this one and this one, and they didn't take very long, okay? I'm going to give us a little bit of class time today and also a little bit of class time on Wednesday, but bear with me here. I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit on my screen and show you how these other 2 work. So you've got 2 weeks, not due this week, but it will be due the following week. You've got 2 weeks to finish this one and this one. If we were all together in a computer lab on campus, I always take my students to the lab. I reserve 2 or 3 lab days right here at the end of the quarter to finish this because some of these can be a little bit tricky. So follow me here. When you start this one, it can be a little tricky, like, oh my goodness, what is this? Look at the directions, and then you're gonna have to kind of play with your computer a little bit. So I know that this is probably a little bit tiny on your screen. I'm going to try to, that's better, I think, zoom in a little bit. You first want to click on one or more of the skills. So these are the skills, and there's a bunch of them. Click on one of 3 buttons, very, moderately, or somewhat, on the right-hand side in order to move your skills to that box. Or click on the clear career select button to select the skills set of a particular career. After you've selected the skills, click on Rate Skills to see how your skills match the Holland personality types, career clusters, and specific careers. Okay. So here's what's not going to work. If I pick one like record keeping and I try to drag it, see how I've got the little like no sign or symbol showing up? It's not going to let me drag. Most of the time when students are messing up, it's because they're trying to click and drag. Okay. What you have to do is I'm going to pick one. I start with very, like, look through this list and find things that like are very much you. So I'm an English teacher. If you can't tell already, I'm very much about writing. Okay. Writing, reading, all of that. That's me. So I'm going to click, you have to highlight it here, then click over here to make it move. Okay. That most of the time when students run into problems, it's because they're trying to drag stuff. Reading, that's definitely me too. I'm going to put that over there as well. Okay. So I tell students, instead of worrying about your moderately and somewhat, find the ones that you are very interested in first. The problem that some students run into is you can only pick 5. So look through the whole list. I've got an advantage here since I've done this before. I kind of know what some of the words are on the list, but read through them, pick 5. And then the good news is you can kind of, if you, oh, wait, there's another one, you can kind of play with this several times. You can reset it, do it again, so if you mess up, you can always reset. But see how you pick 5 that you're very good at? Then you got more here, 10 that are moderately. So like, I don't feel I'm a great advisor. I'm fine with advising students and I feel like I'm decently good at it. It's not my favorite thing to do, not as much as reading and writing, but I feel like I'm okay at advising. You see what I'm saying? So, but I've got 9 more now that I can put over here. And then if you do this smaller category first of what you really, really like, somewhat like, now whatever's left, see how they're disappearing on the screen here? Whatever's left over, you can start putting into the somewhat category. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's kind of like a little game setup. Let me know if you have questions, but sometimes students run into like more technical issues with that one. And again, if we were all in a lab together, I could help you. Okay. So for the career select part, you're going to have to like, make sure you've got it finished before you hit the career select down there. Okay. And that'll kind of like help you match careers again, right? See how it kind of took me here? I only had like 3 things listed. So it's not, see how it's like wide open. It didn't narrow anything down for me. It's because I didn't complete the whole activity. But the thing is if you do the activity and you put in your very interested skills, moderately, and then somewhat, it narrows this list by a lot. And it'll show you, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different careers to consider rather than like the whole list of a million of them. Okay. So shout out if I've got any questions on that. So remember, we did these first 2. This is in your skills. This is the skills. And that's the little game thing you play. This one's a little harder. So I would rather everybody on their time today, I'm going to let us go at about 10 o'clock so that I can meet with a student. But the skills usually take students a little longer just because you're trying to like organize all of those and then narrow it down. Okay. This work importance locator, if you don't get to this part, that's okay. Remember, we have 2 weeks. This one takes a little longer, but I want to make sure I show everybody how to do it. Okay. So a lot of reading here before you begin. There's no right or wrong answers. You're going to place the cards. I'm going to kind of just show you how it works. The instructions are here, but I just want to kind of show you how this looks. This one really throws students for a loop. So again, we've got some time. Let me know if you have trouble with it. Again, if you try to do the click and drag thing, it is not going to work. So that's what causes students to have problems. What you want to do is think about these are the most important. Like I like these the best. And then these are the not so important. I like these the least. The problem with this game, in my opinion, as a teacher, is unlike the previous one where you had the whole list in front of you and you could see everything and then read through all of them and choose which ones you like the best. You're just laying cards. So you don't know from one card to the next, like what the card is. So that can be kind of complicated or frustrating for students. What I tell students to do when you do this game is read through the cards a little bit first. You can kind of cheat with this. If you click on it, it changes the card. So I just kind of cheat and look through my cards first, see what kind of a hand I have. I look through them, and once I've looked through all of them, it recycles them around. Then I start placing them. So I could work alone. Yeah, I can work alone. It's not super important, but if I need to, I could work alone. So I've got this pulled up. Now I'm going to click here and move it there. Okay. I would never be pressured to do things or go against my sense of right or wrong. That's definitely me. I like to receive recognition just like anybody. It's not super important, but it is always helpful and nice. So I'll put it in the middle category here. But do you see what I'm saying? You can't click and drag, but once the card is pulled up, you click on very important to me, not so important to me, somewhere in the middle, and you place it where it goes. And it helps if you kind of cheat and go through some of the cards before you start laying them. That's my best advice on this particular activity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've got a question. Once you lay the cards in there, can you switch them around at all if you
It's
don't like where
hard.
they're at?
Again, I've got my own critiques as a teacher. It's pulling from the deck. It's pulling from the deck. So
Okay.
I'm not a game designer. If I was, I would maybe say, and look at this. Look, like if I lay some and I don't like it, I can reset the board. But the thing about that is if you reset the board, so I'm just going to lay some really quick. I'm just randomly doing this. This is another way you could look at all of them too. If you reset the board and have to start over, it might take you more time.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
But again, I tell students, do the cheat sheet. Like look through them and think through like what my choices are. Here's what my choices are. Okay. Yeah. Flag any of the ones that you know are in the most important. Like, oh, I really like that one, or I really like that one. Just make a mental note of any that you know are the most important. And then also the ones that you think are like the least important. These others that are kind of in the middle, don't stress too much, Ruth, over whether it should be a column 3 or a column 2. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of all in the middle. If you're able to place them pretty good, but really get this column good and this column good, you know what I'm saying? Like as close as you can on the really important ones, and probably maybe 4. Like try to get the really important and then the also really important, and then your ones. And then if you mix them up a little bit on 3s and 2s, like medium for me on those. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to be perfect. Does that make sense? I hope I explained that well. I'm trying to save you guys time when you do this. So I tell students, flip through your deck first. It's not a real card game, so we can do this. See kind of what your choices are. Once you notice it's coming back around, like, oh, I've seen that one already before, I'm back around on the deck, then start trying to lay them, okay? And then if you have it pretty good, you could take your phone and take maybe a screenshot or hit Control Print Screen to get a screen capture of it. But let's say it's pretty good, but shoot, I really did mess up and it's not letting me move them around. You would have to take a picture of it, reset the board, and you get to lay it one more time. But again, in the scheme of things, am I as a teacher going to give you the points and give you credit for at least doing the activity? Yes, I am. right? If you've got one that should have been on a 3, but you put it on a 2, I'm not going to know the difference, Ruth. You see what I'm saying? It's more for you. It's more for you. Try to treat it fairly. Don't just go through it just for the heck of it. Use it and use it wisely. But if you flip flop accidentally something on the 3 column that you meant to put on the 2 column, there's no points lost, is what I'm trying to explain there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Questions. That's a great question, by the way. Other questions? So our 2 assignments for today are either Haley. Yes, Haley. Hey, Haley.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry. I did have a question for the job search. So what if you're planning on being self-employed?
So I used, is it all right for me to share this, Haley? The cosmetology example was
Yeah.
based off of Haley from last week. So I'm picking on different students each week and looking at your different interests. So Haley's interested in cosmetology. She's also interested in business. Okay. So she hasn't finalized it quite yet of what she wants to do. And honestly, several of you are in that boat. I'm not 100% yet of what I exactly want to do, but I know I kind of want it to be like this or this. What you do want to do for this assignment, though, Haley, is think about what field you're majoring in. So I know you're in business for right now, but you're thinking about possibly Cosmo, etc. Choose one or the other for the sake of this assignment. And then look at, okay, if I were to run my own business someday, here's some examples of what I would be doing. And even though you may not want to go and work at, say, Ulta or at, say, Clinique or something like that, you want to do something bigger, you want to work on your own, you still could look at a job description that Ulta or Clinique or somebody like that has posted, right? To get just a general idea of like, this is what I would be doing in this field. Does that make sense? And you can word it again in your own words. Like, I'm planning to run my own business and I've got this great dream of what I want to do. Here's a few things though. I did find a really cool job description at Clinique. If I wanted to like build up my experience a little bit on the holiday season or something, here's a job I could take and build my experience. And here's a few cool things that they want you to do. And this totally fits me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Great question. Anybody
Thank you.
else? So 2 choices. Okay. I'm going to hang out on the call at 10 o'clock with either Ruth or Clarissa, because I've met with everybody else in here except for those 2 students. And remember, I'm trying to make as much time as I can to meet with everybody. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the call. Remember, we want to work on that discussion forum. The quiz, I noticed some problem questions with, so I've still got the quiz locked for this week. We'll go over it on Wednesday. And I want to try to prevent on the front end any of those confusing questions that a couple of you have brought up. So if I notice it, I'm going to try to adjust it and fix or whatever. And we'll go over the quiz on Wednesday's call. Okay. I've taken roll. And Clarissa, are you there?
I am.
Are you able to meet with me for a few minutes?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to meet with Clarissa first. And Ruth, are you able to make the Wednesday call or no? Are you able to make Wednesday? I'm going to plan on seeing you at 10 o'clock on Wednesday this week. Does that sound
Okay.
awesome? Okay. Have a great day, everybody.